Hey guys, it's me. It's me. I'm back up in the building. I had some technical difficulties, it seemed, at the end of part one. But moving on, it sounds pretty good to me. We're at part two. I'm going to start off. I think I finished off pretty much with Richard. Richard was in a vulnerable situation, so that's how he ended up in the web of Penelope. So anyway, let me talk about Penelope for a minute. Penelope is an entire mess. She's two things. She is a woman scorned, and she's a spider. Like she's just trying to get somebody tangled up in the spider that she has woven. So she's wounded. And she's just trying to find her way. She needs the comfort of a man. Like she is, as I stated before, really out here trying to give it away with a double coupon. Her presence is irrelevant. You know what? And this may sound weird, but it's come across to me on several episodes. She kind of obsesses, I think, over Jordan and his pain. I get it, but the pain, to me, they're both equally in pain. Her from her failed relationship with Gary and the loss of her child. Not only that, deep down inside, because she accepted things from Gary, and when I say accepted, they were okay, but they weren't. Excuse excuse me. But I just feel like her relationship with Jordan almost goes beyond sibling. And I could be wrong. Chime in, tap in, let me know what you think. But she just overdoes it. She overdoes it. Maybe because he's such a weak character. Now, remember, I was harping on how I wish they had kept the other Jordan. He was so much stronger. He had a stronger appearance. I guess we probably would have hated him too if he turned out to cry all the time. But with this Jordan, he's totally unkept because of where he is in his life. But this relationship with Penelope, she just overdoes it. And I was looking at her. She has nothing to offer anybody. And you may say, well, goodness, you're just all over her. But she has nothing to offer anybody. And that might be why she's out here trying to give it away with that double coupon. Her character to me is irrelevant. And, well, she's going to come back if Richard comes back because he did what he did. And, oh, God, she's just trying to save the day. She's trying to save somebody, but she needs to be saved also. And Gary wasn't thinking about her. I believe that he knew who she was when she came to the hospital. He just wasn't trying to be bothered. She was irrelevant to him. I can't get over how she thought that the detective really felt something for her. I don't know. One thing I do know about people in law, they try to do things to make you feel comfortable. They do. He didn't have to do anything because she really didn't have to. Well, I don't know, but she's gullible. She's a very gullible character. I'm not going to get into Robin yet. I'm not going to do it. We're going to skip over Penelope. She'll come back up. She'll definitely come back up. Let's get right here on to Danny. Danny, because I was gone for so long, I noticed a change in her appearance. They're still softening her up very much. And I love it. I love it. Danny is really working to change herself. She is just all about modifying herself. I believe that the incident that happened to her in college has definitely shaped her as an adult, and she's dealing with that. And so it's admirable. It's admirable that she is aware of how that attack has molded her decision making and how she behaves in relationships. So I appreciate that. She started with the journaling and she's maintaining her relationship with the therapist. Love it. So she has a panic attack. And that kind of just opens up the floodgates for her. She, I believe she should have had a bigger appreciation towards Tony. And I say that because I don't really see him as someone who's controlling, maybe slightly, but I also see him as somebody who wants better for her. I don't think he was necessarily trampling on her feelings about being in the leadership program, because these pressures is what caused her to have the anxiety attack or panic attack, however they want to put it. These pressures helped in her incident, but I don't see him as somebody that was railroading her into becoming this other person. I think that he just wanted her to step it up. I've been in one relationship specifically, where this guy, he was a bit controlling, but he was also encouraging me to step it up a little bit, which I did. I did step it up. You just have to pull out what good you can get in a situation. But with Danny and Tony, she has used different behaviors to pacify the pain that she felt. And those different behaviors is her various addictions. So she's come to terms with that. Tony still wants to participate in having sex with her, and that is difficult for her to do because she ties that to how she has handled the trauma in her life. While Tony understands that, he doesn't like it, but he really was trying to hang in there with Danny. They began to have problems in the workplace. I was wondering how long that was going to last. Just how long was it going to last with them having a relationship and people knowing it? In the real world, that's not acceptable. It does not say that it doesn't happen, but it's not really acceptable. And I think that they were too open about it, her going into his office and them doing what they were doing on lunch breaks and breaks. And so now we have this little nosy person who has noticed it. And because he's a peon and doesn't have a life of his own, he has nothing but time to see what they're saying, see their behavior. And so he used that. He was upset, this guy Leonard, because he wasn't a part of the leadership program. Now, we know that Tony pulled some strings to get her in the program. The application process had been closed out, but he got Danny in there. So this other guy, Leonard, was upset about it. So he had his lens on them, and he was talking about them. Danny, having the temper that she has, was tired of the things that this Leonard guy was saying to her. He came across as sexist. Yes, she said some things. I will not cover up that she was trying to defend herself. That's the type of person that she is. And I'm not even going to try to blanket the fact that I have, I've said some things in my life. But anyway, so she gets upset and she splashes him with this cold coffee that he's drinking. And so, of course, HR witnessed it. You know that Tony has to find out about it. And so now we're dealing with this. She's, I guess, suspended without pay. And so they had a time progression of a month. So for a month, she was without pay. And she broke things off with Tony. I don't know. They both had a part in what was going wrong on the job. She says that he wasn't protecting her, but there was no way really that he could. He had already gone above and beyond to get her into that position. But see, she never wanted to be there. She said no, but she didn't act no as far as stepping into the leadership program. So that ended up causing a break in the relationship. She now had planned to I'm not sure if she really wanted to sue, but she wanted to take legal action. I believe that maybe she wanted to protect herself. But Andy was like, okay, we can do better than this. And so I wasn't expecting for her to get paid for this. I believe she got $75,000 and she got her job back. What was interesting to me is that she had to sit in this mediation room with Andy and then Tony and his representative and the woman from HR. I just thought that Tony's representative was cute as a button. I liked the relationship that she had with Andy, how they were going back and forth. Of course, Andy is a little sharp when it comes to legal affairs. But I appreciate their relationship and how they left the room together. Now, when they left the room, that gave Danny and Tony an opportunity to talk. And you could tell that Tony was apologetic about everything, that he had sat down and he looked at his role in what took place, how it was handled. I believe that Danny, she deserved the money. I don't think that she should have gone back to work for that company. I think she should have had the option to go back, but that she should not have gone back to work for the company. Now, let me say this. I really absolutely loved how Zach stepped in to be there for his friend. I just wanted to say that again. I really, really love that. I like their relationship, and I touched upon that in part 1. Anyway, moving on. So Danny, and I was rooting for her and Tony more than I was rooting for anybody else in the news circle. Now let's just forget about Robin. We're not going to talk about him to the end. But anyway, so I was rooting for them more than I was rooting for anybody else because I think Rich's character is too soft for Sabrina. I don't see how two people that's that soft can connect the way that they have been doing. And then we have Andy and Jordan, which I didn't feel that he was strong enough to be in a relationship with her. He is too much in the background. He was not a stand-up guy. He just didn't come off as a man. He could not, I think, put his arms around Andy like they were just on two different levels. There was no way that he could participate in the spoils. Okay, if that makes sense. He could not participate in truly making her happy. And I'm so happy that I'm happy that she finally said it out loud. When the season first started, and I know everybody and I talked about this in the first half of this season, how they all had these new relationships from all the new guys they met. And it was iffy for me. I felt like Andy and Jordan at that time made a good mix, but that was because it was another Jordan. And so I'm happy that she was able to admit to herself that he was not the one for her. To me, this new, Jordan, I believe that he was a Band-Aid for her because she was trying to move beyond Gary and Robin was not in sight. So I believe that this guy was a new opportunity. He was on his way to being successful, but his success, it just didn't level the amount of success that Andy has. Now, if he had a one councilman, then yes, but he didn't have a chance because Gary was too powerful. That wasn't going to happen. So he didn't stand a chance. So he just, he's out of there. His appearance, of course, had declined because he was depressed. He was under so much pressure. Now, Jordan, he was incarcerated. He's out now, but I don't see where his character could play a role in the rest of the show. Like Sisters all the way around. I don't care if it lasts for 20 seasons. I don't see how he could play a role in things. He's out of jail after choking Gary. He's trying to make Gary pay for the failure of his relationship when Gary was never the problem. But he's not trying to hear what Andy has said to him about her protecting him. so that they could go on with this wonderful relationship that it looked like they were having. Anyway, so Jordan, he's just a cornball, period. There's no other way to put it. He's corny. So now that he's out of jail, thanks to Robin, who's just flying around saving everybody because Andy has that type of effect on him, he's out. And we'll get back to Robin. I'm saving that for last. And I know that you all are listening like, okay, we know she loves Robin. She got a lot to say. Yes, I do have a lot to say about that situation. So moving on from Danny, I think that pretty much covers it. It covers Rich. Tony, now that he and Danny have decided, okay, we're going to stay together. Now, he proposed to her, but I didn't see a ring on her finger when she was talking about how they were, working things out. I didn't see a ring. That says a lot. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't see a ring. Maybe they did get engaged. You guys in the comments, let me know. But I didn't see a ring after that when she was on the phone with Sabrina. They decided, okay, we're going to make this work. I was wondering when everything that happened on the workplace was going to really have a direct impact upon Tony, because he's there. He's not suffering really any repercussions for the relationship and the decision that he made. I was just wondering when it was all going to come to a head. So they have decided to transfer him to a branch or a airport, however you want to put it, in Alaska. So he has to make that decision as to whether or not he wants to. Well, it sounds like he made the decision. It really does. I hope that he does not lean in that direction, because Danny, that'll just leave her back out here just wide open. We have to bear in mind that Preston, for those of you who are watching Zatima, moved over from Sisters onto Zatima. So he's still out there. So you have to remember that it has come out that Preston is rich. He's not just wrestling cows, bulls, horses. He has money. But we didn't learn that until he got on Zatima. And I think that if he comes back, that might make a difference. Preston's character, I like the way they kind of pumped a little bit more of manhood into him, like made him more masculine on Zatima. But I feel like the relationship between he and Zach is maybe on a different level than anybody would think that it was. Like they've gotten much closer. But anyway, I say that to say that he is still in the picture. Okay, so hey, he might come back. I want, and I like Preston, I do, but I want Danny and Tony to make it. They are the ones of the couples, and I said this before, that I would like to see make it. Danny deserves that. She's seen a lot. So I like her relationship with I keep saying Zatima. You guys know Fatima. So we'll see what happens with Danny. But she finally found her happiness, and I hope that the writers are not getting ready to snatch the rug from under Danny's happiness. So yeah, moving on from Danny. Anyway, the detective, I just really hate him until he dies. Like, I really can't stand him, because go lay down somewhere. Now the case has pretty much been solved, sir. Just go lay down. He's just like an detective in real life, or inspector. They will say and do what they have to say and do to make you feel comfortable or to bully you. They operate that way. So he made Penelope feel comforted. Now here he is trying to bully Fatima and Zach. And I hate that they are kind of falling for that, because Fatima, guys, Fatima is too strong for what he's doing. Zach, I could see how he might kind of cower down because of his fear of going back to jail. And so every time he has a situation with anybody, that's always an issue. That always makes him feel like there's a possibility. I'm not saying he should have choke slammed the detective, but he could have grabbed him by the scruff of his collar and pulled him right out of the room because what are you doing? You don't have the right to come over here like that. You don't have a warrant. And you are by yourself, so we can't take it to the streets. No, seriously, Zach would have if he could have. Fatima could have did more, but she was preoccupied with Andy having to go back to work. Now, let me talk about this. Andy had been laid off. And before I get into that, I'm looking at my list to make sure I pretty much covered everybody before I get into this, because this here will be the bulk of the show. This thing with no, let me go back before I start doing the Andy, because I'm sorry, not Jordan, because that's done. Robin will be at the conclusion of not this episode, because I may go into a part 3. I might, but we'll see. Now, moving on, let's talk about Aaron and Karen. That little portion right there. Now, Pam done got her man. She's still with this guy. I don't remember his name. Please bear in mind that I binge watched this. So, yeah. But she's still with him. Why were they bumping uglies at the salon? Get a room. I like Pam just because I like Pam. But just uncouth. Why are you in there doing what you're doing? Every time you say that you're going to be responsible and help Karen with the shop while she's on bed rest, because when she found out that Fatima was pregnant, it sent her into false labor, just in case I didn't mention that before. But anyway, so Lisa, who I love, you guys know I love Karen's mom, she comes over because she wants to make sure that Karen is being compliant with the doctor's orders, bed rest. So she goes to the shop, and that's where she sees Pam giving it up with a double coupon. So she's not going to tell Karen. Karen decides that she's going to get up and go meet with Andy, where Miss Wallace she just read everybody. I really like the way she read everybody. However, I'm kind of glad that Danny said something. I'm glad she did, because nobody else in the room had the strength to say anything. Not strength, but the character to say anything, because Danny basically threatened to punch her in the throat. But anyway, Karen goes to this meeting to meet with Miss Wallace, unbeknownst to her, being the facilitator of the meeting. And so when she gets home, Lisa finds out that she was not resting. So she calls Aaron. Now, Karen has already said, and this was new to me because I hadn't been watching. This was new to me that she was beginning to feel more for Aaron. And it's not even like she went back to how she felt before. She never felt what she's showing that she feels now for Aaron in the past, I don't think. I think at the beginning, Aaron was a breath of fresh air and something to do. But there were a lot of, I don't want to call them red flags. There were a lot of holes there. There were some discrepancies. I don't want to really call them flags. Now, things did happen that they never brought back out. We still don't know who this woman was that came to the shop that time. Unless you all know something that I don't, but you have to remember the lady that came to the shop, and she was very confrontational towards him, and they were outside, and you could see how they were having some issues. I'm talking hand on my hip, neck rolling, reading you. So we still don't know what happened with that. Who was this woman, and what was that all about? So we don't know. But anyway, so she's really back emotionally with Aaron. And so it's kind of coming as a surprise, I think, to Aaron, but not much. I think that he's living in the moment and loving it, because now he gets this little fairy tale family. Now, one thing that I do like is that, okay, we know that she's pregnant by Zach and Aaron. I like how they are not going to exclude one of the twins, meaning that Zach is going to be there for both babies and Aaron will do the same. I really like that. I like that. That's important to keep the children together. They're already going to be really tight. They're twins. I like that they are all going to parent them the same. But anyway, so Karen and Aaron, they end up bumping uglies. And Lisa walks in on him. It was funny because Aaron didn't just get up and leave the room. And Karen was very calm about it, like, Mama, what are you doing here? I love her relationship with Lisa. Because Lisa, yes, she is the authoritative favor person, because that's her mom. I love it. But Karen has a great degree of respect for her mom. And Lisa gets her in line. There's no arguing, no fussing about it. Listen, this is what you're going to do. I made you something to eat. I have a babysitter for you. I'm going to check on the shop. You're going to follow the doctor's orders. I love it. I just love it. But anyway, so she's caught them in there doing what they were doing. Karen wasn't sorry. Karen has this new look in her eyes, and she's happy with Aaron at this moment. We hope that this has nothing to do with the emotions in this pregnancy, because I would imagine, because she's having two babies by two different men, and the situation has just worked her overtime. I hope that this is not related to the pregnancy. I hope it's not the hormones. I hope that this is not some dream. I hope that she and Aaron get together, stay together, and leave the show. I know that's a lot, but I say that because how is there space for any children on Sisters? We never see Michael, Zach's son, but he's there. We never see him. Every now and then somebody mentions him. There's no space. And so with Karen, I hope that that's what happens, that they'll just have a phone relationship with her. Like Karen will call and check on people, or they will call Karen, just like on Sex and the City, how, I can't think of her name. I haven't watched it lately. I had to step back. I can't remember her name, but one of the characters left, Samantha. She left the show. They were having some type of, I guess, some issues in the contracts. She left the show. However, they kept in touch with her every now and then by phone, or they might show her. But she left the show. And so I hope that with Karen and Aaron, they leave. They can come back and visit in later seasons, but I hope that they leave. I hope she has the babies. By the way, she didn't give birth. I'm going fast forward. She didn't give birth. That was a false labor. At the very end, she did go into labor. So hopefully they'll take them off the show, and maybe Zach will come in and say he visited the babies, or I bought the babies this, but that we won't see them anymore. Now, let me say this. In pictures and appearances, we're not seeing Karen. Karen just did a movie, but we're not seeing her. Excuse me. I don't know if it's because of the movie or because she's moving around and she may not be back. But people are noticing that these award shows and these different events that the ladies are having, Karen is not there. And no, Karen is not pregnant for real, but she's not there. So she may be getting ready to leave anyway. So I really like Karen. And if you listen back to the first of my podcasts, Karen was my favorite character at first. Okay. She lost me along the way. But so hopefully that's how that'll end. And we can kind of do without that relationship. What they'll do with the salon, and I know you're like, okay, you're talking like you're one of the writers. I am not. I wish I was. But what they'll do with the salon, I don't know. But then I have to bear in mind that they brought Pam in as I don't know if you want to say a sister by default or honorary sister, but they brought her in. I don't see how, I guess the salon would kind of be obsolete, or maybe Pam would run a salon. I don't know how, maybe she run it in Karen's absence, and that's how they'll keep that connected. I don't know, but I don't see any babies coming on to the show. That would just make it too difficult. Karen is not going to be able to, just like with Harlem. when Camille had the baby, we knew that had to be the end because the ladies, um, they're going out for cocktails all the time and going to these different events. There's no space for any children. So that's my take on kids and on Karen. She's back in love with Aaron, and I hope that they live happily ever after. Moving on, let's talk about. I'm looking at my notes. Darn shame I don't understand my own handwriting, but we can go back to Andy. Let's go back to Andy. Andy has lost her position in the law firm. Now, I was kind of confused because at the head of all of her accomplishments is Robin. And yes, I'm talking about Robin, y'all. Robin is at the head of her accomplishments, and or what it looks like they are accomplishments to us. I'll get into that. And then he's always her savior. He came in like, I was hoping he would, to save the day when Andy had her problems with Gary. He came in and saved the day. No matter how angry he gets, he comes and he goes to bat for Andy. He helped with Penelope when she was locked up. They locked her up because her crazy self confessed to being the one that stabbed Gary. Now, how they're going to play that, I don't know, because it comes out that Hudson and Jasmine, Gary's first wife, were the ones that were responsible for the stabbing. So I don't know how that's going to work, but she said that she did it. Comes out that she was on some type of medication to combat the trauma that she experienced from losing her baby. This was sloppy writing because they spoke about how she had blood on her hands. If she was not a part of the stabbing of Gary, where did that blood come from? If they aren't able to clean that up or they skip over, this says something to me about the way that they write, because that's just, why? Why did you even, that shouldn't have been a part of it. But anyway, so she was able to get out of jail because she didn't sign anything as far as a confession, and she did not have representation. So it didn't hold. So she got out of jail. She was ever so grateful towards Robin, and she was really trying to use her lack of feminine wiles, because y'all take her breast down out that bra. Her breasts don't belong up there by her collarbone. Like I said, I used to be a member of the itty bitty, you know what, committee, and just leave them alone. Just let them be what they are. Basically, you can wear anything you want to, play it up by wearing a high collar, but please take her breasts down. But anyway, I was concerned that she was going to hook Robin, but the more he rejected her, as gently as he rejected her, then that let me know that he still had some type of feelings for Andy. But I guess I was off by thinking, okay, he's just here to save the day and he'll move past it. But that's not what happened. But anyway, so Penelope comes back to Robin because she needs for him to then get Jordan out of jail, because he took it upon himself to go and strangle Gary while he's still in the hospital. Now, at this point, Gary was back to being Gary. Now, let me go back. Gary had escaped from the hospital and he showed up to Andy's place. Okay, just move it along. I'm not sure if he took a scooter, but they killed me with that. Not the scooter, but he shows up and Robin is there. Robin knows it's some trash, but he's, as with everybody, with most people, they're wondering if Andy still feels something for Robin. Now we have Penelope and Jordan trying to make it seem that she's still interested in Gary, but then they're both looking at her sideways because they saw Penelope and Robin having lunch. Jordan and Andy shows up to the same restaurant, but they could feel the chemistry change in the room when Andy was interacting with Robin. And I felt it. I felt it because the look on his face, his entire spirit has been quieted, because before he was all over the place and it was confusing. And it's kind of confusing now because he does things to almost like he does things to push Andy back, but then he does things to protect her and set her up for a comeback. I was a little disturbed, but anyway, she in the meantime finds a way to get back into the law firm. So she reaches out to former clients and she gets them to vouch for her. She's made the company a lot of money, and they will lose money if she's not in the company. And she was able to prove that. And then when you had Miss Wallace come in, she's like, you know what? I'm taking my business back if Andy is not here. So that was a good thing. But what got me was, why did Fatima show up in there with a bat? What was she going to do with that? There was a point to be made. I missed it. So if you guys saw what I didn't see, let me know, because why was she there with that bat? Was she supposed to be intimidating a room full of old men? Why was she there? Why wasn't anybody like, okay, get out of here with this bat? We call it security. Because what was the point? But anyway, so Andy makes her point and they let her back in. But in the meantime, she's talking to Robin like, basically, whose side are you on? I'm confused myself at that point. Like, Robin, whose side are you on? Are you helping to build me up and you're going to leave? What? And so it comes out that basically he's getting ready to leave. I couldn't have seen him staying at this point. At this point, y'all keep up with me. I couldn't have seen him staying, because once again, he came in, he saved the day, and it was time for him to move on. Now, I was pissed when Penelope brought herself in there needing help to get Jordan out of jail. Andy's feeling a little jealous because she sees how Penelope is hugging up on Robin. And Robin has already let Andy know, listen, I'm going back to the UK tonight. My job here is done. I love you. And if you love me the way that I love you, then you'll tell me and I won't leave. Andy's fighting with the idea, and she really had no reason to fight. There was no reason. There's nobody else. There's no Gary. There's no Jordan. There's nobody else to keep her from having this relationship finally with Robin. There's nothing to keep her from doing that. But when she sees Penelope hugging him, then she's apprehensive. Robin goes to jail and he gets Jordan out, which I thought was kind of strange. And I hope that this is the end. I hope that this is the end for Jordan, but we'll see. We'll see how they're going to play it with Rich and Penelope. But anyway, so Andy decides, listen, I love him. I can't let him go. She decides this about Robin. Wait, let me go back. Why did Penelope try to kiss Robin? Little girl gone. You and your flat breast. Why are you in here trying to kiss our man? I was so mad about it. But Robin, that was confirmation for us viewers that he really wants Andy, because he never just came out and said that I love you. Maybe he showed it in a strange kind of way from a distance, being here when you need me, being here when you don't know that you need me. So when he did that, I was like, yes. But anyway, so Andy decides, listen, this is what I'm going to do. Now, although Fatima was a little angry at or was looking at Robin sideways, she is support of Andy going after her man. And I was happy when she said, listen, I can't judge. You see who I'm engaged to and what I'm going through with Zach. I appreciated that. So Andy, in the meantime, is like, okay, I'm going to finally do it. Now, at that time when I was watching, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Is she going to finally do it? Is she going to miss him? What's going on? So Fatima's like, well, we need to share locations because it's a lot going on. You're not safe. And so I think she made reference to Gary not being safe. I don't know. I have to go back and look, but she's saying, you're not safe. Let's share locations. So in the meantime, Fatima needs to have Karen to fill out some paperwork. Now, Fatima. If I say Zatima, y'all know. But in the meantime, she's representing Miss Wallace because she is working with Pam and Karen to grow their business. Now, Karen is on board with Roots to Riches. Anyway, so she's representing Miss Wallace. So she has to be in contact with Karen. So she has invited Karen over to sign some paperwork. Anyway, in the meantime, her and Zach are at home. Karen shows up. They're signing the paperwork. She's concerned that something's going on with Andy because she's not seeing her location. So she's trying to decide if they're going to go to Danny, if they're going to go to Andy, however it goes. Anyway, so Zach is like, I'm going to go to Andy. I'm trying to remember. At some point, Zach did go to the airport and speak with Danny again. I don't remember. Okay, but you guys know that he showed up. But anyway, moving forward, he's going to go ahead and check on Andy. Andy has disappeared from the parking garage. I thought off the top that it was Gary. But then I was thinking, okay, that's too much. Gary just got out of the hospital. He's probably not that physically strong. And it would just be too obvious if it was him. And so Zach finds her phone. I can't remember how he found where she was. But anyway, so he shows up, and here we have Jasmine, who admits to being the person that tried to actually end Gary's life. And then here comes Hudson. So they're working together. But Jasmine, nobody really has respect for Hudson. Hudson and Miss Wallace were even working together. I said that, if you all remember, I said that Miss Wallace probably had something to do with the thing with Gary. I said that because they had some type of bad business dealings, but they never said that what they were. Her and Gary knew each other in a prior life. I don't know if that's ever going to come out, but they did. If you think about when she first came to the company and she went into the office with Gary, they had a previous business relationship probably. But anyway, so Zach comes to the rescue. Now Jasmine is there, Gary's former wife. I believe she was incarcerated, but she got out, and she was good and crazy. You'd have to go back to watch season 1 to see how nutty she was. Gary was married to her, and he was cheating on her with Andy. And she was off her rocker. She was, but she probably only went crazy because he made her crazy. Y'all know how we get into these relationships. But anyway, so Jasmine is there. I have to say this, Jasmine looked good. She looked good. She looked like her face filled up. She might have gained a few pounds. She looked like she had new teeth. She looked good. But anyway, so she comes in, her grand entrance with all her black on. It comes out that she and Hudson have been working together. Everybody's shocked. And Andy's shocked after they let her see that this is who's in the room, who's coming into the room. It was just crazy. So Jasmine and Hudson, I guess were supposed to be in a relationship. Okay, what a mess. But they were in a relationship. Hudson was there. He would have been with a dog or a cat just to get some money. He looked like he's really, really on drugs. Now, he was drugging Gary when he was in the hospital also. But anyway, Gary didn't trust Hudson, and that upset him. And that's how things kind of went crazy at the end. But anyway, Hudson was sick of Jasmine, so he ended up shooting her. So that's probably going to be the end of her. But who knows? She might come back from the dead like she did this time. She got out of jail. But anyway, so they're there. And that is basically how that, no, it's not. Let me stop lying. So they're there. Everybody's afraid. Hudson is threatening to shoot Andy, and it looked like he was getting ready to. Gary was not for it. I think Gary kind of looked like, don't shoot her, shoot me. Now Zach came in the room. I think Hudson had pointed the gun at Zach. So we don't know. Well, yes, we know how this is going to end. Jordan is not Jordan. I'm sorry. We're not thinking about Jordan. Robin is going to come in and save the day because the airport lost power. Now, Robin had already sent this beautiful message. Oh my God, I melted. He sent this beautiful message to Andy saying how much he loved her and blah, blah, blah. But then the power went out. We were thinking, well, at least I was. I can't say what you guys were thinking, but I was thinking, okay, he's getting ready to go on the plane, but he's going to come back. That's what I was thinking. He's going to come back later in another season. He's going to have a reason to come back and save the day. So now here he is. He's going to come back. He's here. He hasn't left, and he's going to save the day somehow, some way. But yes, he's going to definitely save the day. Gary is not going anywhere for you guys that really dislike him or hate him. He's still going to be in the show. He ain't going nowhere. But somehow, some way, Robin is going to come in and save the day. Now, Karen is over at the condo with Fatima, and she goes into labor. I was just so over it because as I've birthed 7 children, guys. Yes, I have. And of the 7, I've had to physically push out 4 children. I know how it feels when your water breaks. My water has never broken and I gave birth right away. Why was Karen basically on her deathbed as soon as her water broke? I was just over it. So she's like, get me over to the couch. First of all, you're not getting on my couch because your water does not stop breaking. It continues to break. You're not getting on my couch. But anyway, so that's how that's going to end. So at the opening of the next season, Karen is going to have the babies. And I think that the only person that's going to be there with her is Fatima. I could be off, but I think that Fatima is going to be there. She's going to be her support person when she's having a baby. I was pissed when Karen was telling her to call Zach. Why? That's not your man. Call Aaron. But I was pissed. She hollering, call Zach, call Zach. No. We gonna call 911. That's what we gonna do. Anyway, so I think that Fatima is going to be her support person. I do believe, hey, who knows? She might not even make it to the hospital. They might have the babies right there in the condo. But Fatima, I believe, is going to be her only support person or her person at the almost to the very end. Maybe Zach will show up, Aaron will show up, but she's going to either be there to the end or almost to the end. So we'll see how that goes. But I think I covered everybody looking at my list of characters. I think I covered everybody. What I think about the show in closing, the entire season. I think that the end of the show, the end of the season, I liked it. I liked how it went for the most part. This could have easily been the end of the show forever, like for real, the way it was written, just with a few more details. This could have easily been that. But I really liked most of the storylines. I'm excited that Robin is coming back. And y'all know, if you've been listening to me for these years, that you know how much I love Robin. Now, we had broke up for a minute, but I do love his character. I love the love between he and Andy. I just hate that there's such a pull there. There's a power struggle between the two. And I guess because they both work in law, I would love it if Robin actually, does become a judge. I would love it. I would really love it. I would love it. And I'm going too far. Y'all know I'm going too far. I would love it if they just took over the law firm and it was just the 2 of them. But that's just me, wishful thinking. You have to excuse me. That's the little girl and the fantasy in me with the glass slipper, the Cinderella and the Prince Charming. But guys, you know. Anyway, I would love that. As far as next season is supposed to begin in July. That's not far from now, especially for somebody like me who has a lot of things going on. So I had things to go on to keep me busy. So I won't be consumed with thinking about Sisters, but I believe that's how things are going to go. It's over for Rich and Sabrina. She's going to be with Damani. Calvin just was stopping through. I didn't say anything about Maurice and I can't remember his Grayson. There's really nothing to say. Maurice is just a character that's in there hanging on. He and Paige are going to get close. They finally made amends. But that's about it with Maurice. I don't know what Hayden and Tamara are going to do. Or Tamir. I can never get it right. Tamir. I don't know what they're going to do, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Hayden has already let Gary know, listen, I hate you till you die. I tried it, but it didn't work out. So my focus right now, as you all well know, is on Andy and Robin. I don't have to put such a big emphasis on Zach and Fatima because they have their own show. So we can always look and love them at another date and in another season. I don't know when they're coming back. Now I binge watched them before I watched Sisters. I don't know when they're coming back, but the focus primarily is on Sisters. We really look for the dates are more consistent, like the return of the shows are more consistent, with Zatima. Excuse me, guys. I just drank some apple juice. It's doing a number. But anyway, so I think that's it. I'm hoping that after this episode here, part 2, that maybe Tamika will come on and we'll do a part 3. And Ingrid, who was on with us before, will do a part 4. So you can get their perspective and I'll be able to add a little bit of mine. But I think it'll be good for you guys to hear what other people have to say. I did good, guys. I just did 2 shows, and they lasted almost an hour each. I did really good, and I think I covered most of the bases. I'm looking across my character list, and I think I covered everybody. If I missed anybody, you all let me know. Let me know. Drop it down in the comments. Let me know. I think that may be it. If you guys want more of me, and I really don't talk about what I do outside of this podcast, but I think it's safe to say that I have a lot of other things going on. I do have a show, the Everything Door Show. It's on Genesis Radio. You can log in over there. I am on Monday and Fridays at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And then I believe on Fridays at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm on 3 times a week. I've been on this show. I've been doing this show and I lose track because I was doing something else with this company also. I think I've been on, guys. I think it's safe to say 3 years. I've been doing that as long as I've been doing this. So I believe it's like 3 years that I've been doing the Everything Door Show. You might find that it's interesting. We talk about everything. It's the name of the show. Even if you guys are interested maybe in being on a show, you can reach out to me, leave a comment here, or you can email me at beafeature@gmail. You can email me there. Also, while I was gone, this hiatus, I did release 2 more books. You can find all my books because I've been writing for a long time on Amazon. You can go on there and find my books. But I did release 2, maybe 3 since the last time, since I took the hiatus. So I am a lover of books. I am a boy meets girl, girl likes boy, boy likes girl, boy loses girl, and boy gets girl back type of writer. So I know that probably was confusing. Let me say it again. Boy meets girl, girl likes boy likes girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. That's pretty much what it is. I might have added a little bit more in there, but I meant everything I said. But guys, there's plenty of books if you want to see what else is going on in my crazy mind. Also, I'm working on a short film based on one of the books. In fact, my favorite book, which is called Love Sucks. So if you guys want to find something to read, you can go over there and see what's going on with your girl. On that note, I'm ready to go. And I'll be back. As I said, I'll probably be doing more things between now and July when the show returns. There's plenty for me to talk about and a lot for you to listen to. So I hope you enjoyed these 2 episodes. And I'll be back soon. Bye.